ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Tuesday, July 8th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. Open text lines today, so you got the entire run of the show. You know how it works. If there's something you want to talk about, you can change the direction of what we're talking about by hitting that text line. We got into a lot yesterday, and hopefully we can expand upon that. More news coming out. I really don't want to call it news, more insider information maybe. Rumor has it. Sources tell me that type of reporting right now is telling us that Louisiana Tech, La Tech, potential 14th member of the Sun Belt to replace Texas State might not have enough of the membership's support. There's still a push for 13 until the new television deal takes place. A little bit more revenue. A little bit more inconvenience maybe, but a little bit more revenue. What does that say about the Sun Belt right now, that this process isn't being rushed? How soon do you need to pull the trigger on having a new member come into the league? Do you go for a couple of seasons with 13 and then you expand to 14? Do you hope when the television negotiation deals happen again, conference expansion maybe hits some of the bigger leagues, and then you have an opportunity to cherry pick it? I think that's everyone's hope, that the American becomes cherry picked, and that will lead some opportunities that an American conference that's depleted wouldn't be as strong as, say, a Sun Belt conference. And I don't see the American holding on to its perceived P6 status. Is it one of the best of the rest? Yeah, I think so. It's a good league. Is it going to get better? Probably not. And Memphis, of course, is going to be a big deal in that sense because Memphis still rumored to potentially leave, wanting out of the American. The American's not what it used to be. It's a refurbished Conference USA. That's more of what the American looks like. So that's where we're at right now. And what does that say about La Tech and its aspirations to join the Sun Belt? The television payout would be a little bit more. And when we're talking about thin margins here, the television payout definitely going to be a little bit more substantial. Is it going to save athletic departments? I don't think so. Is there a potential for the Sun Belt to have the larger television contracts over time, over Conference USA? I think the answer is probably yes. So we wait, and we hope that something is announced sooner than later just to kind of put this to bed. And yesterday, something we did get into, and there were a lot of people that actually jumped on board with this, is there's talk that maybe Ohio should be a target of the Sun Belt. And I know that would benefit East Division teams more than West Division teams. Obviously, Marshall and Ohio have a history. Would Ohio leave the Mid-American Conference and leave some of its more traditional rivalries behind to go to Conference USA? Or in this case, the Sun Belt? Would it ever think about, as an institution, leaving the Mid-American Conference? I have a hard time believing that. It's MAC for life, it feels like. So we still don't know what's happening right now with all of this expansion, but I did get the feeling yesterday that Ohio was an attractive option for a lot of Herd fans. I just don't know if it's going to be an attractive option for the rest of the Sun Belt. So we'll get your thoughts on that. And again, our text line 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I think the 13 idea is pretty good. And do you have to have 13? I've seen some talk. Possibly not adding, but subtracting. And I don't know how you would go about this, but instead of having 13 teams and adding a third team from Louisiana, you completely forget about adding Louisiana Tech and then try to somehow get rid of ULM. I've seen those discussions as well. And would a 12-team Sun Belt be stronger than a 13-team Sun Belt? Would that help? The big picture here is football and basketball. Of course, all things being equal, football is going to take the day. Basketball, for a lot of people, not good enough just yet in the Sun Belt. But this is going to be football driven, obviously, and that's where there might be some deficiencies at ULM. Is that the case? Perceived, yes. And so throwing a lifeline to ULM by adding La Tech, giving La Tech sort of this built-in close rival that you can build off of, I don't know how that improves the league. I might be on board with subtraction. Or ultimately, my grand plan would be wait till the American has to make decisions. And then if there is an opening, cherry pick ECU. I don't know if that's going to happen. The money's going to have to be better in the new television package with ESPN or the primary rights holder in the Sun Belt. That's going to have to be better than what you can get in a current or reconstituted, refabricated, refurbished American. That's going to be the big ask there. And then do you try to go out to 16? And is Western Kentucky still in the conversation? And is it safe to say that Western Kentucky probably ahead of Middle Tennessee in any discussions? And there seems to be, at least right now, lack of consensus when it comes to La Tech. So we'll get into that with you. Also, we talked a little bit yesterday. We had a few questions about some of the upgrades happening at the Shoey. Of course, the name, image, and likeness project, best way to describe it, is continuing. If you haven't been by the Shoey, there's plenty of material being loaded for the upgrade and for the build out. So it's progressing. How soon will it be until it's ready to go? We've got a few weeks. Can that part of the project be done in time for the home opener? That's going to be a big question. I'm going to say yes. It looks like it's moving right on schedule. You're seeing activity. I think that's going to give the stadium a fresh look at least. And then when we talked about that yesterday, we got into some conversation about what should the next project be with Jones C. Edwards Stadium. Should it be concessions, concourses, bathrooms? What should that next project be? What do you want to see Marshall focus on next? And I still think, and we get a couple of texts after the show as well. One texter says, "Amen, Paul, smoother concourse experience." And that's a big deal for me because the concourse at the time, perfect for what Jones C. Edwards Stadium was. 30,000 seat stadium. Marshall had an excellent facility, and then Division I AA. As Marshall progressed and moved up, as Marshall added seating, as Marshall tried to expand what it was doing, the stadium maybe not big enough. The concourse has always felt a little small, and so there's ways to remedy that. How much of that's happening, though, is anyone's guess. The big fix right now is going to be name, image, and likeness, revenue generating opportunities. That's why we're seeing new construction on the Shuey. And then could we see that envision other party deck that we talked about on the other side of the stadium? Could we see that party deck? Could we see that tower with the scoreboard, of course, being one of the first capital projects under Christian Spears? Could we see that party deck and those suites on that other side come to fruition? Will that be next, or will there be other projects? And do we see those seats finally taken down to make way for that construction? And will the tarps ever come down? So there are a lot of things we can get into today. We'll do it with you. Our text line brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We'll go over the sports of the day, and we're looking forward to hearing from you on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Giovanni's 20th Street is a place to be before, during, and after the game. 14 great beers on tap, plus classic Giovanni's pizzas, pastas, calzones, sandwiches, and wings. Never miss a minute of the action with 10 TVs now at Giovanni's 20th Street. And Giovanni's 20th Street has never looked or tasted better. Under new ownership and management. Dine in, get it to go, or have it delivered. Order online at Giovanni'sPizzaPower.com. 20th Street Giovanni's, right on Marshall's campus, across from Edwards Stadium.
The soundtrack to your summer is back. Mount West Night Street Live, downtown Huntington's favorite Friday night tradition. Presented by Michelob Ultra and White Claw. This Friday, July 11th, it's Collins Career Center night featuring 2 sets from the John Ingram Band on the Marcia OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Go-Mart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marcia Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Mark your calendar for July 18th, the return of Jeremy Short. Join us July 25th for Souls of the Wounded. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August the 15th. Night Street Live is driven by University Ford and built by Cardinal Roofing. Every Friday night through Labor Day, Night Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Blinko Glass Company, Marshall Health Arena, and Kendrick Communications. This Friday, it's the John Ingram Band at Mount West Night Street Live. Be there.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could it be lower testosterone?
Lower T.
Happens to most guys after 40. I was in the same boat until I started using Nugenix Total T2.
Total T2, the new one I've seen on TV.
Yep, it's the next generation testosterone booster for both free and total testosterone. It's packed with even more man-boosting power, sending nitric oxide levels skyrocketing in just 3 hours.
It actually works?
I feel like I'm in my 20s again. I've got more energy, better results in the gym, and things are even better in the bedroom. Send them a text and get a complimentary bottle.
Text now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the #1 testosterone brand at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, absolutely free. Text BEAT to 231231, BEAT to 231231, BEAT to 231231.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We continue on with this Tuesday edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Colcast opening up a week-long road trip on the road starting tonight at Bristol. 7 o'clock game time. You can head over to the Colcats website. Video stream available. All video streams available on the Appalachian League website. Major League action. The Royals got the better of the Pirates 9-3. Teams meeting up again tonight. 7:15. Kansas City's our airtime right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Marlins got the better of the Reds 5-1. Game 2 of the series tonight. 7:10 in the Queen City. The Guardians beat the Astros 7-5. Cleveland snapping a 10-game losing streak there. Series game number 2 tonight, 8:10 in Houston. And, of course, this has been a busy week in college football. We're getting the Big 12 media days, so a lot of stuff is coming out from there. And, of course, that means we're getting closer to Sunbelt media days, which might not have the impact nationally that, say, the Big 12 would have, or the SEC, or the Big 10, the ACC for that matter. It will be interesting, though. This will be an opportunity for media members that are able to make the trip to the conference media days to ask questions about probably league expansion. And I hope someone takes that opportunity to ask Commissioner Gill where the league stands on that if he doesn't address it already. Our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says, Paul, I may have missed any discussion along these lines, but what is the buzz at La Tech? Does their leadership want to be in the Sun Belt? Is there fan excitement about the possibility as there was at Marshall whenever we looked to move up? That's a good question. I think there is some excitement from the fan base, but I don't think it's going to be at the level of a Marshall. And that's not a slight on La Tech. It's just Marshall couldn't get out of the conference fast enough. I think that's what pushed a lot of this excitement is Conference USA was starting to fall apart. And so Marshall got out, got in the Sun Belt, and Marshall was excited. It's as if you adopted a new dog or cat from the shelter. You pick that dog up, and it's happy to get out of that shelter. Thank you for getting me out of that shelter. I think that was Marshall and Marshall fans. Would you agree? And, of course, television package was a lot better. We suffered through some terrible, terrible television packages for Conference USA. Just wasn't up to the standard. Remember CUSA TV? That was okay. Wasn't there a different sports network? It was on some of the Sinclair stations. It really didn't get the job done. Limited television exposure. Now, to be fair, the current Sunbelt package isn't the world's best. It's much better than where Marshall came from in Conference USA. And I think the other thing that's probably exciting La Tech is there's going to be more money. The television exposure is going to be better. There's going to be more money from the television revenue. And so that would be an upgrade for La Tech. And of course, getting into the Sun Belt would be almost a lifeline. You look at the Sun Belt membership now, and I'm not sure that there's really much excitement for that league. It might build over time, but tell me where the excitement is in Conference USA. Tell me where that's at. Can you pick a couple of matchups? And Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee don't count. So where's the excitement? I don't see it. And because of that lack of excitement, you're going to have a league here now with Delaware. And back in the day, I love Marshall playing Delaware. Back in the day. FIU, Jacksonville State, Kennesaw State, Liberty. I'd be excited to see Marshall play Liberty. I'm sure a lot of people will be excited to see Liberty. La Tech, obviously, in this mix. Missouri State. Don't know too much about Missouri State, so I'm gonna hold judgment until we see Missouri State. Middle Tennessee, which right now, if you're taking this conference apart, that's my third pick. Maybe my third pick. You have New Mexico State, Sam Houston, UTEP, Western Kentucky. I would say my first pick is going to be Liberty. My second pick, Western. Maybe Middle is my third pick. And if you look at where this league is going, it's definitely not going to have an opportunity anytime soon to challenge for what I like to call the best of the rest. And the fans might be excited for La Tech to get out and get into the Sun Belt. As Marshall fans, though, I think there was a lot more excitement. There was a lot more energy. And there was feeling that, okay, this could be something really special. Marshall, JMU, Marshall, also Southern Miss, Old Dominion, there could be something special here. And you look at the standings and you look at where Marshall is now and you think to yourself, okay, this is pretty good. I know a lot of the national pundits aren't exactly giving their herd the best of chances to reclaim the Sun Belt Football Championship. But you look at where Marshall's at right now, there's excitement. There has to be some excitement for La Tech fans to think, okay, hey, get back in this league here, and you have two other Louisiana schools. And I think that kills it for me, though. Where there might be some buzz for La Tech, that kills it for me because there's 3 Louisiana schools. And it's not like it's North Carolina schools we're talking about here. I mean, you're looking at the ACC, and you got 3 really close rivals in this triangle. And it works. It works. But in the Sun Belt, it's a little far flung from the East Division schools. And I think if you built up the East Division a little bit more, and I've seen discussion, hey, drop Georgia Southern down to the West. And I don't know if I want that. I like Georgia Southern. Would you take Georgia Southern over Georgia State in realignment of the divisions? I don't know if I would. I like both. I don't know if I want to give up Georgia Southern. But again, if you brought a Liberty in, I would be okay with that to a degree. To a degree. If you brought in ECU, now if you brought in ECU and Liberty, you have to make some changes in the division. So the Georgia schools would obviously get dropped. But then we're still looking for a nice even number. Is 12 the number? Do you see a little bit of addition by subtraction as a real possibility in the future as athletic departments evaluate how competitive programs can really be in this new age? And after the House settlement, will some of these schools be viable in the future? Our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now, there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary by location. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co., LLC. Used with permission.
Big flavors, big savings, and top-notch quality only at Food Fair. We're bringing you the brands you love, plus exciting new exclusives. Try Springer Mountain Farms chicken, humanely raised and antibiotic-free. Stock up on Food Club for quality meals at a great value. Crush cravings with Craven flavor snacks, pizzas, and sweet treats. From family dinners to late-night snacks, Food Fair has you covered without breaking the bank. Visit foodfairmarkets.com today. Food Fair, delightfully local, deliciously fresh.
I'm Nori, and when I was young, my mom opened our home to someone who needed a secure and safe place. She taught him what it was like to have someone care about you, having dinner at home or going out to eat together.
In West Virginia, families open their homes every year to adult family care.
Some folks need a little extra help, but everybody deserves a family.
Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an adult family care home finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
Whether it's day or night, hot flashes due to menopause can be unpredictable. That's why there's Veoza, a prescription treatment proven to reduce the number and severity of hot flashes day and night that can start working in as early as 1 week. Based on clinical studies measuring efficacy at 4 and 12 weeks, individual results may vary. Talk to your healthcare provider about what this may mean for you. For moderate to severe vasomotor symptoms or hot flashes and night sweats due to menopause, Veoza can cause serious side effects, including liver problems. Your doctor will do blood tests before and during treatment. Stop Veoza and call your doctor if you have symptoms of liver problems, such as feeling more tired than usual, decreased appetite, nausea, vomiting, itching, yellowing of the eyes or skin, pale stool, dark urine, or stomach pain. Don't use Veoza if you have cirrhosis, severe kidney problems, kidney failure, or take CYP1A2 inhibitors. Ask your doctor about Veoza. To learn more, call 1-866-239-1637 or go to Veoza.com. That's VEOZAH.com.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
How was your day? What did you do in school? I'm Dale Lee, president of the West Virginia Education Association, and these two simple questions can encourage learning in your home. Showing interest and asking about the school day can help motivate your children and keep them excited about learning. So stay involved, stay curious, and ask specific questions. Student success involves the whole family.
A message from the West Virginia Education Association.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
We continue on with today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line, it's powered by Clark's Pump and Shop, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. It's going to be open text line the rest of the way for you as we try to figure out what the next move of league officials will be in the Sun Belt when it comes to realignment. The big story of the day, at least as told to me earlier this morning, the new football game. EA Sports is out, early access. Already a lot of fans have been playing it. I'm not as excited about it this year as maybe I was last year. Last year it hadn't been a thing for a long time. I think we were like at least 10 years or so. Not a thing. Now it's a thing. And so is there a excitement for this? That was the discussion we had this morning here in the office, as the quote was the real important stuff as we were talking about this. And of course, Marshall's in the game, and a lot of people have already seen maybe what the digital uniforms look like. There's no enhancement to the shoey. I think the big thing about the game last year was there were skyscrapers behind the shoey. There were office building skyscrapers. That craziness is gone now. The stadium, the backdrop looks a little bit more like Huntington proper. I just think it's still too pretty. It's got the trees. You kind of have that aesthetic in the video game that maybe not necessarily is real life, and I get it. It's not necessarily going to be one-to-one as far as real life is concerned, but so far so good. The reviews are in. If you haven't got the game yet, I know that you'll be getting it soon, and of course, that's going to be the only thing that probably tides a lot of people over until the start of football season. So, did you spend this silly money though to get the? And don't lie, did you spend the silly money to get this? Or is this one of those things where, okay, let's not talk about that. It's a game. Go play the game. Let's talk sports. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 is our text line to be a part of today's show, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Texter writes in and says, Paul, the best thing for the Sun Belt to do is wait and see. And until then, 13 teams are fine. I appreciate that opinion. And the television money is going to be a factor in that as well. You're going to get another percentage. You're going to add, and that's important. The margins are going to be so small. Every program is looking to maximize the margins here because, let's be honest, the television money might not be there for the majority of college athletics. The television money is going to be there for the Big Two, for the Big Ten, for the SEC. And then there'll be some good money to be made at the Pac-12 level, not as good as the Big 12 level, not as good as the ACC level, but there'll be some money to be made possibly there. And then, of course, you've got the rest. You get MAC. What's MAC money going to look like? MAC money is not necessarily going to be coming from television. MAC money is going to come from institutions probably more. What does Conference USA money look like? What does Sun Belt money look like? And of course, how smart can these programs be when it comes to trying to maximize every dollar, trying to find new revenue sources? You think Marshall's on the right path right now? Of course, we've talked about the shoey construction going on here in several instances where this is going to open up new opportunities for Marshall. But what does it look like when this finally gets possibly sorted out? Are we almost done, or is it going to just get to the point where we have 3 or 4 major conferences and we might have to see a break off? There might have to be a subdivision. I hate to see that happen again. The college football playoff, though, that was a topic at the Big 12 meetings, and that still continues on. I think the push right now is still for you get the 5 teams that get the automatic bid. You don't necessarily seed them 1 through 5, but you get the 5 teams in, automatic bid, 1 from each conference, right? And then you got 11, 5 and 11. Could be the best you can get right now, because I don't see a situation where you're going to have a guaranteed bid for the power conferences and then a guaranteed bid for the rest of the stragglers. So no automatic bid necessarily for the Sun Belt or Conference USA or the Pac-12. definitely not for the American. If you get a bid, you're the highest ranked group of 5, group of 6 member in the poll at the end of it all. And so you would get the automatic bid. You might not be seated high, but you would at least get the automatic bid and you would get in. And I don't know if that's still the best system because there's some opportunities being missed here when it comes to bringing more teams in. But at the same time, you look at conferences that are going to try to push towards having multiple bids. The Pac-12 will try to get a bid where the Big 12 looking for multiple bids. Same thing with the SEC, same thing with the Big Ten, same thing with the ACC. And that's just going to smother a lot of the smaller schools right now. And at the same time, that's still devaluing the bowl system a lot more than a lot of people would like, because what's the value of the bowls? We're going to expand the college football playoff. What's the value of the bowl? Does the bowl still mean anything? And I've seen this on social. Hey, what do you think the first year is going to look like for Marshall? And some of the pundits don't think it's going to be spectacular. Some are giving Marshall a shot. But I've seen this constantly, and I don't know if I agree with the sentiment. 6-6 in a bowl game, that'll be fine for the first year. Are we at that point now where the best hope is 6-6? I'll be happy with 6-6 is what I'm hearing. Did I hear that right? 6-6 in a bowl. That'd be a good first year. I don't think that's a good first year. Now, granted, to be reasonable about it, if Marshall was able to manage 6-6, that would be all right. But 6-6 is mediocre at best. And that's not where Marshall football wants to be. And it's going to be difficult because the transfer portal is going to change the dynamic every single year. And that's why these conference alignments are very important, because if you are in a league that has higher visibility, the higher visibility could generate more revenue. If you can generate more revenue, you can fund more sports and you can pay players to higher levels. If you're going to compete at the highest levels in like conferences, so can Conference USA outdraw the Sun Belt? Can the MAC outdraw Conference USA? What's going to be the dynamic here? Which league's going to be able to generate more money? Because that's ultimately where we're going to go at the end of the day. Yeah, I really like Marshall, but, Ohio, I like Athens too. And guess what? They're offering me more money, or they have more opportunities for me. So you might miss out on an athlete here. I think that's just an example with no basis in anything. But that's where we're at right now with a lot of this. And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to get any better anytime soon. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Transform your home with Shaw Vinyl Plank Flooring. The Hillcrest series is waterproof and offers superior protection to stains and foot traffic. Save big money on all Shaw Vinyl Plank Flooring at Menards. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Lawrence County Developmental Disabilities provides vital services for individuals with special needs and their families, offering care and peace of mind every step of the way.
And it's just an amazing service that Lawrence County has. And we're lucky that we have it, and people struggle, and they need services like this.
Learn more about the difference Lawrence County Developmental Disabilities makes for our community at lawrencecountydd.org.
The soundtrack to your summer is back. Mountain West Night Street Live, downtown Huntington's favorite Friday night tradition. Presented by Michelob Ultra and White Claw. This Friday, July 11th, it's Collins Career Center night featuring 2 sets from the John Ingram Band on the Marsha OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Gomart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marsha Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Mark your calendar for July 18th, the return of Jeremy Short. Join us July 25th for Souls of the Wounded. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August the 15th. Night Street Live is driven by University Ford and built by Cardinal Roofing. Every Friday night through Labor Day, Night Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Blinko Glass Company, Marshall Health Arena, and Kendrick Communications. This Friday, it's the John Ingram Band at Mount West Night Street Live. Be there.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
Sup?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a baseball player. I would be the pitcher because they get to do something all the time.
If your child is sick over and over again, it could be PI, a defect in the immune system that affects millions. Early detection can give children a chance to dream. Jeffrey Modell Foundation, 25 years of helping children reach for their dreams. Visit us at info4pi.org or call 1-866-INFO4PI.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Our text line still open this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Pirates baseball coming up tonight. 7:15 is going to be our airtime right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Pirates didn't do so well yesterday. Lost to the Royals 9-3. Back at it tonight, and you can catch it all right here on your home of the Pirates all season long. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Some good news if you are a Pirates fan. O'Neal Cruz has accepted an invite for the Home Run Derby. So you at least have something to root for there. Probably one of the few All-Star week moments that I'm actually interested in, the Home Run Derby, just a little bit. I like it better than the skills competition. I'm not a big fan of the skills competitions. Home Run Derby, though, has something completely different to it. It's a different vibe. It's fun because everybody can relate to the home run. Everybody can relate to the home run. It's the ultimate show of power. Hey, can you crush that ball and knock it out of the ballpark? The home run's still a big deal to this day. Just to knock it out and it's gone. So that should be fun. If you're a Pirates fan, you got something to cheer for, at least with the Pirates All-Star break coming up in a few days. And, of course, we will have coverage of the All-Star game on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. We, of course, will have Cold-Cats baseball for the major part of the All-Star break. And, of course, the Cold-Cats are getting into the second half of the season, and we'll have those games as well, all home games on your radio dial. And, of course, if you can't get to your radio, we've got you covered. Head to our website right now, and you can get the link to download the app for your Android or your iOS device. Then you can stream the station anytime you want right there on your phone. So we're getting to the All-Star break, and it's not looking good for a few of our favorite teams. If you look at where Pittsburgh's at right now, Pittsburgh is 38-54, 17 games back on a 4-game losing streak. Pittsburgh at one point had me believe it. All right, they can make this competitive. It's not the case. 17 games back. They're not the Colorado Rockies. The Rockies in the West are 34.5 games back at 21-70. At least the Pirates are a little bit more competitive. They've been better at home, abysmal on the road. 26-21 at home, but 12-33 on the road. It's just been brutal when the Pirates leave and head on the road. So, 4-game losing streak, back at it tonight. And then you get the Cincinnati Reds, a little bit better, 46-45, over 500, but 8.5 games back. The Cubbies still leading the Central with that 54-36 mark. Cubbies have been almost unbeatable at home, 30-16 on the road. A little closer down to earth, 24-20. But Pirates had a run going, and then all of a sudden can't get it done. Now, here's the problem with the Pirates. What do you do? What do you do? Because you have Paul Swann here. Paul Swann being wasted on the Pittsburgh Pirates. His earned run average is 1.94. And he has 125 strikeouts. 125. And his ERA, 194. And the Pirates still can't get it done. So what do you do if you're the Pittsburgh Pirates? Do you hang on? If you're Paul Swann, do you think to yourself, as soon as I can get out of here, I'm done? Or do you start spending some money, and you're probably not going to be able to catch up with the Chicago Cubs? It's not happening. 17 games back, you're not making that kind of run in the second half. So you're almost done. I'll say right now, you are done at 38-54. So do you stay with what you've got? Do you make some moves? Do you try to build the team for a second half run? Or do you unload and try again? And that includes, of course, Paul Swann. And, of course, that's probably going to be heresy to a lot of Pittsburgh Pirates fans because he's probably one of the few things going for the Pirates right now. But, again, at least we have at least we have the All-Star break and the Home Run Derby to look forward to. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texture says, Paul, baseball season's over. Let's talk football. All right. I've got my instructions. Let's talk football. What, 8 weeks now? We're 8 weeks away? That's close. And, of course, is this team going to be ready? Is this team going to be able to be competitive against Georgia? Is this team going to be able to be competitive in the Sun Belt? The Herd could start 3-1. It's not improbable. It's not impossible. It could be 3-1. Maybe the only loss would be to Georgia. And then you get into conference play, and I think that's really where we're going to find out what this team is all about. And I could be wrong, but I think the team's better than maybe the pundits have said, and I'm still not sure if it's as good as I think it's going to be. That's the dilemma for me right now. And I've seen all the previews, positions. Marshall's not necessarily getting a lot of buzz right now in some of the publications. Some of the Athlon, Phil Steele, some of those publications. Marshall is a 72 overall team ranking in the EA college football game, a 2-star team prestige ranking. 2-star prestige ranking and 72 overall. So if you're looking to build a dynasty in EA Sports College Football 26, there you go. That's your challenge. I think Coach Gibson's in the game as well. There are a couple coaches that are not in the game. Bill Belichick's not in the game. Coach Prime's not in the game. And I absolutely don't get why you wouldn't want to be in the game. It used to be a fun thing, recruiting. I don't know how much of that tied into the game, but hey, we're in the game. And that got a lot of play, so here we are, looking for any advantage we can get whatsoever. We are about out of time. I do want to remind you, we got baseball coming up tonight. 7:15 is going to be our airtime. Taking on Kansas City. We'll have that for you right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And then, of course, the Pirates are going to be off tomorrow. We're getting into the All-Star break as well. And then we'll find out if the Colecats can get a win on the road, taking on Bristol, 7 o'clock game time. You can head on over to Colecats' website, and you can stream the game video there. Follow along with the Colecats on the road. And, of course, we'll have them right back here after the road trip is over. All Colecats home games all season long on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. With that said, we're out of time. Thanks for being a part of it here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC and W231BS Huntington.